Hi, and welcome back to Writer's Dream Coach. Today I will talk about a very common fear that I've seen expressed by authors time and again. But before we get there, I'm Falcon Rubius, German therapist and coach, as well as author and EFT practitioner. And just to make it clear, I write fiction under a pen name. I know how that goes, and I self-publish, so I know the whole baggage involved in this. So today, this fear and this expectation that is placed on authors to being original. And it's something you will find in every author forum. There will always be someone afraid of not being original enough. Now, I believe this is just a limiting belief. I believe it is a myth employed by whatever. It's an obstacle, a raised bar placed on authors, maybe with the original intention of making authors work harder. Come up with interesting plot, come up with stuff that happens. Don't just have the story kind of like roll along and have it easy for your characters. But some authors are interpreting this to mean that what they write must never have been written before. It must be exceptional. It must be extraordinary. It must be something new under the sun. The problem is, realistically, I mean, we human beings have been storytelling for millennia. It probably started out in Africa when we were still, not quite Homo sapiens even, because that's what is a group mechanism. As soon as we developed speech as a species, we were talking and we were telling stories, because storytelling is the best way of teaching something. And you might have noticed that even the Bible is just basically storytelling. And as a teaching tool, as a way of transporting belief systems, it's everywhere. We just don't have a whole lot of recorded early versions. Now imagine there's now 8 billion humans on this planet, more than have ever lived before. We're all telling stories in a way, some more, some others less. There is nothing new under the sun in storytelling. It's as simple as that. Some people even say that there is a limit of potential plots. I quoted Christoph Bucher, I think. He claims that there are only 7 basic plots. I mean, this is like the archetypes of stories. So he can easily slot every story he finds into one of his archetypes. And he says those that don't fit are flawed. That's an easy way. But take that. I mean, there is no completely new story. Just quit having that belief. It's just not true. It is just not true. And it also has no impact on your life as author unless you give it the power. But the truth is, the best earning authors, genre authors, are romance authors. Romance has a very firm thought structure. There are very firm rules about how a romance story develops, from the first meeting of the lovers to the amount of obstacles to the all is lost scene where they break up for good or not, and the happy ending. So this is a story that's been told millions of times with, varying people, varying time frames, various settings, uh, any kind of obstacle imaginable. And yet the story at the core is always the same. These authors make millions with their stories. So this demand of yourself, this expectation that your story must be new, completely original, and exceptionally fresh, it just isn't true. It doesn't matter in the life of a successful author. It just doesn't matter. What the story needs to be is it has to be functional, it has to work, it has to have a plot arc, it has to have some tension building up, or the readers will just, forget about it. It has to have interesting characters, it has to have a certain kind of satisfying ending, which depends on genre, but it has to play to genre expectations as well, or you won't find readers. But the one thing that does not determine your story's success is actually the amount of originality. The part where something new comes in, the part where you can be original, is your own voice, is your way of telling the story. It is the amount of snark you put in, it's the kind of characters you develop, it's the kind of emotional contact you build with the reader. That is the key to your success. That is the key to a bestseller. Originality is nice to have. Let me put it that way. It's nice to have. It's not a must-have. It's not a demand. And if you build it up into more than nice to have, it becomes an obstacle. It becomes an expression of self-doubt. It becomes a fake wall to your success. Don't do that to yourself. Just don't. Kill that myth right away. It's one of the sacred cows. Just kill it. Originality is nice to have. And the best way to get there is to develop your own voice, is to develop your kind of story. Make it yours. Make it very clearly yours. And that's the amount of originality you need and you should have. I mean, that'll take practice. Writing is a craft as much as it is inspiration and fun and joy and readers. But it's also a craft, and that means you have to work at it. You have to create story after story, and you will get better. Don't rewrite the same old story dozens of times. It'll kill your creativity. It's the worst you can do. Write a story, make it as good as you can, make it as clean as you can, eliminating typos, bad expressions, holes, that stuff. Make it yours with your characters, express your heart blood in there, and this will give your story individuality. That's the best you can work for, individuality. Originality is overrated. Don't follow that myth. Just don't. And that's it for today. There is some tapping suggestions below. There are some tapping suggestions. You can also sign up to my newsletter, and I promise the data will only be used to send you the newsletter. And I do look at open rates. I can see your individual behavior. I mean, I can see if you open emails or don't. That's it, basically, and I can see clicks. But I won't ever send you spam. I won't sell the email addresses. Oh, God, no. And if you have questions, there's an email address below as well. And if you want to work with me to make your life easier as an author, use that same email and we'll talk, because I can make your life much easier than you'll ever imagine. So happy writing, dude. Happy week. Go for that story. Go for your style. Go for individuality. And I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.